What's up everybody, my name is DJ Vincent from Frankfurt, Germany. Due to public demand, I'm going to do a video on 3 products from Behringer that I have. One is the DCX2496, which is a loudspeaker management system. I'm going to show you how to plug it in and what you can do to get your system up and running. Secondly, I have the DEQ2496, which is a mastering EQ, and with that I'm going to show you how you can ring in your PA system so that the frequency is going to be level. Lastly, I have got the Behringer FBQ2496, which is a feedback destroyer, and with that I'm going to show you how you can easily destroy feedback so that there will never be any feedback in your PA system. This is the setup that I have for you. I got 2 sub-12 subwoofers from DB Technology. I got 2 Opera Live 210 top caps. I got a Shure SM58 microphone as the main microphone, and I got an IMG Flat 100 monitor so that you can actually ring in the monitor. For the purpose of ringing in your system, I got the Superlux ECM999 microphone. I plug it into the DEQ2496 just to ring in the system, and I'm going to show you how that process works. Alright, so first up I want to show you my setup. I just got a regular Windows laptop running Audacity, and I got a song loaded from the YouTube library so that I don't have any problems with copyright. Here is my mixer. It's an Allen & Heath Z10FX, and I'm using a USB cable to get from the laptop into the internal input, so I can use the internal sound card, and that signal is routed to stereo input number 2, and I got it here set up for 0 dB and also here, so that when I turn it on you can see here is my input and I got it just below 0 decibel. From my mixer I have got 2 XLR cables that go into input number 1 and input number 2 of my input panel, and the routing is that I first go into the DEQ 2496, which is the mastering EQ up here, and then the signal as a stereo signal goes into the DCX 2496, which is the loudspeaker management system. So in order to set up my loudspeaker management system, I can just easily recall a setup, and on the internal memory card, I got slot number 5, which has a 2+2 sub. So this means 2 full range system speakers and 2 subwoofers, and that I'm going to recall. And now I've got a routing where the input number A goes on to output number 1 and 2, input B goes to output 3 and 4. And I also have a sum out of A and B, which goes on to speakers, or the outputs 5 and 6. So here are my outputs, and this is the first one, the first subwoofer, first top cap, second subwoofer, and the second top cap. And in order for you to get into all the setups, you just press setup up here, and then you go to the first channel, and here on the second page you've got your X-over points. So this is your internal frequency controller. You can switch off the first filter, which is just limiting the whole frequency band towards the very low. What you need is you have to adjust the second filter, which is this one in the middle, and this one is actually the turnover frequency, the X-over frequency, and I'm going to set that to 80 Hertz. There you go. And so the output number 1, which is this one is going to the first subwoofer. And here I got a frequency of 80, so everything that is below 80 Hertz goes to the subwoofer, and everything else goes to the first top cap. The same with output number 3. I have the X-over frequency set at 80 Hertz. And so everything below 80 Hertz goes to the subwoofer, which is on output number 3, and everything that is above 80 Hertz goes to output number 4, which is my second top cap. Alright, and now let's turn on some music so that you can hear it. Okay, and so here you can already see the input coming in. Another thing that you maybe want to set up is your limiter. In order to do that, you go to Setup and select an output. And then you go to your output page number 6, which is your limiter. And there you can turn on the limiter. You can also turn it off. Let's put it on. I put the threshold rather deep, so at let's say minus 20. And I also do that for all my other outputs. So no matter what input I have on the system, no matter how far the DJ cranks up the whole thing, I'm just gonna have a limiter set at 20 decibel. Okay, and let's see how that works. So I'm turning on the music. Here it goes. And you can see how up here there's a limiter LED showing that the limiter is kicking in. And that's pretty much what you want to do. So in order to ring in your system with a real-time analyzer, I use the DEQ 2496. I select GEQ, which is the graphic equalizer, and then I go to the RTA, which is the real-time analyzer, and then I go to Auto EQ. And now you got to be careful, because if you press this button up here, the page button, and you go to the Auto EQ site number 2, the page number 2, then you already produce pink noise, which is then the reference to which the frequency bands will be adjusted. So I have I go to page number 2, and then I have the noise gain, which you can adjust with this big wheel. It's set to minus 60 decibel. Now you can already hear it, and now I turn this up in order so that I can hear, and the microphone can recognize how does the sound, how does my PA system reflect the pink noise through all the frequency bands. So now I will start the Auto EQ, and first it will measure the room without any sound, and then it will turn on the pink noise, and that's when I turn it up with this button up here. So now it's just measuring the ambient signal, which is basically just the room without any sound. Then it turns on the pink noise, which is now, and now I turn the pink noise up. Alright, and now you can hear what this whole thing sounds like. So now I got another song loaded called Bitcoin out of the YouTube sound library. First I'm going to play the sound without the DEQ. And then I'm going to turn on the GEQ, the graphic equalizer, and then you can hear the difference. Alright, so to my mind, the DEQ supports, like with my sound system, it highlights the highs and the high mids, but it also boosts the bass. So the last product that I want to show is the Feedback Destroyer FBQ 2496. So my monitor sound doesn't really have to be that loud. So I'm going to show you how the routing goes. So again, sound comes out of my laptop, then I go into the Allen & Heath Z10FX. The music comes in here through the USB input, and then here I have these gray buttons, which are the auxiliary outputs, and here I have my aux mix level, so that's the master for all my my monitors. And now I turn on the music. Again, it's the Bitcoin track. In order to set up the Feedback Destroyer with the auto learn function, first you press reset. This will erase all the filters that you have set. Then you have to produce some kind of a feedback loop. I've turned the microphone on the monitors, and so now we have the feedback loop from the microphone through my mixer into the Feedback Destroyer, into the monitor, and then back into the microphone. And now I'm going to hit learn for 2 seconds, and it will produce these little beeps that you can hear. And then automatically it will increase the sound, the volume, and now you can already hear feedback churning up. And with those 16 little beeps, the Feedback Destroyer will increase the volume of those little beeps. And then now we have 14 different feedback frequencies that have occurred. Now, since I own on my mixer, I only have a mono auxiliary. So I only need actually one feedback channel. I have it on the right. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to reset the whole thing. Now for both channels, but I'm only going to use the right channel. Now I'm going to hit learn, 2 seconds. It will produce the little beeps, and it will also increase the volume. And feedbacks should soon turn up. There we go. And you can see these filters being set up. Wow, so now I even have 20 filters on my monitor sound. And now when I turn on the music again, I have absolutely no feedback whatsoever. If I want to save that, I'm just going to hit freeze. And so all these filters are set, and these are single shot filters now. And there will be no feedback on my monitor system. In the DEQ 2496 you also have a Feedback Destroyer. You can select that hitting FBQ, and then here you also have 10 slots in total, and you can change them from auto to single, and you also have the chance to reset the Feedback Destroyer. And here you have the learn mode. So here again you should have little beeps, but now they're coming through my main speakers. You can hear that. But because the microphone is behind the main speakers, it will not produce any feedback. I've turned the microphone down so that it's going to be easier to produce feedback through that monitor. So here is the Feedback Destroyer function on the DEQ, and that's the Feedback Destroyer FBQ 2496. So last but not least, I want to show you the delay function on the DCX 2496. I got one little speaker set up right behind there. It's a Thomann T-Box MA205, and I got it on output number 5. In order to set the delay for my output number 5, I go to Setup, I hit number 5, I select that, and then I go to page number 8, which is my delay on the outs. In order to set it up, you first have to, well, engage it turn it to on. You can link it between, for example, output number 5 and output number 6, which I won't do now. Then I select the long delay, and think of like my delay line has a distance of 10 meters, so just select 10 meters, which is a delay of 29.11 milliseconds, and that is exactly how much the output of that output number 5 will be delayed in comparison to my front PA. Usually I use that for rooms, for example, where when the room is very long and I need a second speaker or another speaker to produce a delay line, so that I don't have to crank up my front speakers so much that people in the back can hear it, can hear all the addresses and speeches. But I have a delay line in order to keep the front PA at a decent level, and then I have a support through the delay line, maybe 10 meters behind that. Also, what you want to look out for, if you have a delay line, you want to set it up. So I select setup, I select number 5, and on my second page I have the X over points, and here I can select that my delay line does not have any sound below 100 Hertz, which is just the real big bass, the pump and bass. I don't need that on the delay line. The delay line is just used for speeches or addresses or anything like that. So it's just to produce or to support the speeches, which will be given by maybe the bride and the groom, or the best man, or the father of the bride. Luckily enough, the DEQ 2496 also has a delay. You select the in and out menu, which is here, and here you go to page number 4, and here you have the digital delay, and here you can select whether you just want to have it on the right or on the left or on both. And you can also select whether you want to have a delay on the aux, on the auxiliaries, or on the main. So up here you can select whether you want to have milliseconds or feet or meters, and you can adjust that by turning the big button. And if you press it, you have a rougher adjustment. When you press it, you have a finer adjustment. You can select between those two. So, and this is pretty decent. Like if you want to have only a 10 meter delay, let's go for 10 meters. There you go. Exactly 10 meters. So that's my delay. And you can save that as well. Turn memory on and save it to and okay. So now I also have the auxiliary outputs adjusted with a delay.